They told the queen her daughter was gone, killed during the final assault. The last battle on the ash-covered moons of Veltor. No body recovered. No signal. No hope. For years, the queen of the Yulari Empire mourned in silence. Her fury echoed across the stars, but her grief dug deeper than any wound. She sealed the princess's name in sacred stone. Statues were raised. Songs were sung. The war ended, but for her, it never truly did. Until today, a ship entered orbit. Not one of theirs. Not human. Not Yulari. Something else. Ancient metal. Repaired with mismatched parts. Worn, but fast. Alive. It landed just outside the Imperial Palace. No warning. No threat. Just a simple message, beamed across every channel in the Yulari homeworld. She's coming home. Guards moved into position. Fighters scrambled above. The queen stood at her throne, unmoving. Her old eyes narrowed. "Show me," she whispered. The feed played. A ramp descended from the battered vessel. And then she stepped out. The princess. Older. Changed. Covered in dust and scars. Her royal armor gone. Replaced with traveler's cloth and scavenged gear. But unmistakable. The queen gasped. She didn't dare speak. Her heart beat like thunder. And beside the princess, a human. Tall. Weathered. Wounded. His armor was scratched, but functional. A rifle strapped across his back. No insignia. No rank. Just a soldier. And yet, he walked like someone who had nothing left to prove. The queen whispered, "What is this?" The guards didn't know. The council didn't know. But the princess knew. She stood beside the human like she had chosen him. Trusted him. Protected him. And more than that, he had brought her home. Alarms blared as the two approached the gates. "Halt," shouted the commander. "You walk in restricted space. Declare yourself." The human stopped. Calm. Unafraid. His voice was clear. "My name is Grant Mercer. Sergeant, Terran Colonial Forces. Retired." The Yulari soldiers raised their weapons. But the princess stepped forward. "Stand down," she commanded, her voice sharp and royal once again. The guards hesitated. Some gasped. One dropped his weapon in shock. It is her," one whispered. "It's the princess." The queen watched it all from her private chamber. Her hands trembled. "Bring her to me," she said. Moments later, the throne room doors opened. The princess entered first. Her steps slow, careful, eyes scanning the golden hall that once held her memories. Behind her, the human followed silently. The queen stood tall, but her voice cracked. "Are you real?" The princess nodded. "I survived," she said. "Barely." The queen moved forward, one step, then another. Then she embraced her daughter, breaking into a sob the galaxy had never seen from its most feared monarch. "My child." They held each other for what felt like forever. When the queen finally looked past her daughter and toward the human, her face shifted. "You," she said. He nodded once. "You brought her back." "Yes, Your Majesty." "How?" He didn't answer right away. Instead, he looked at the princess. "She saved me first," he said. "I just returned the favor." The queen studied him for a long time. "You are a soldier." "Was." "And you risked death, hunted across war-torn worlds for her." Grant didn't flinch. "I didn't do it for a medal." That answer caught the queen off guard. "No human has stepped inside this palace since the war," she said. "I didn't come here to fight," he replied. The princess stepped in. "He saved me, mother. When our shuttle was hit, when the debris scattered us across that death world, he found me. He fed me, fought for me, carried me across desert and storm. I wouldn't be here without him." The queen listened. Her gaze softened, but only slightly. "Then why return now? After all this time?" The princess answered, "Because I couldn't return until I knew what mattered most to me was safe. And because the galaxy needs to see this." She reached out and took Grant's hand. "We are not enemies. Not anymore." Silence fell across the chamber. Even the wind outside seemed to pause. The queen looked at the human's hand in her daughter's. She saw the scars on his knuckles, the wear on his armor. And then she saw the calm in his eyes. Not weakness, not arrogance, but calm strength. "You love him," she said. The princess didn't look away. "I do." The queen turned to Grant. "And you?" "I'd follow her into hell," he said, without hesitation. The queen exhaled slowly. "Then, perhaps peace is possible." She turned to her guards. "Tell the council. The war is over. For real this time." She looked back at the human. "Welcome to the palace, Grant Mercer." And so, a soldier without a flag and a princess once thought lost stood side by side, ready to shape a galaxy that never saw them coming. But not everyone would accept it. Far beyond the palace walls, in the darker corners of space, old enemies watched the reunion and sharpened their knives. The palace hadn't changed, but the galaxy had. Grant could feel the stares. Every corridor he walked, every Yulari noble they passed, he was a ghost in their empire, a reminder of a war they'd lost pride in. And yet, none dared speak aloud, not while he walked beside their lost princess. The princess, Arisha, led him through the palace like a bridge between two worlds. Everywhere they went, whispers followed. Is that a human? He's armed. Why isn't he restrained? She returned with him? In the great dining hall, the council gathered in silence. Cloaked in robes of emerald and gold, they bowed to Arisha, then looked coldly at Grant. Counselor Vezin stood. This is no time for sentiment, he said. He is a human. He fought against us. He does not belong here. Arasha's voice was calm but sharp. He earned his place. By saving you. Vezin scoffed. The war is over. What use is a human now? Grant stepped forward. I didn't come for your throne, he said. I came because your daughter wanted to end the war for good. I came because I believe in peace. Vezin's eyes narrowed. Peace is forged through strength, not charity. Grant looked him dead in the eye. Then maybe it's time someone showed you both. A few counselors murmured, but Arisha raised her hand. He saved my life more than once. He stood between me and death. While others abandoned hope, he bled beside me. If that's not strength, then you've forgotten what it looks like. The queen entered, silencing the room. We've all lost something, she said. But today, we've also found something. A future we never imagined. One where humans and Yulari don't have to fear each other. She turned to Grant. But peace is not granted freely. You must show them. How, he asked. By surviving, she said. Later that evening, Grant stood in the palace training grounds. Word had spread fast. Dozens of Yulari soldiers gathered. Some in armor. Some bare-chested and proud. All of them wanting one thing. To test the human. Grant stood in the center. No helmet. No shield. Just the old rifle slung to his back and his fists ready. The first challenger charged. Fast. For arms. Yulari elite. Grant dodged the first blow, ducked under the second, then spun and landed a clean strike to the ribs. The soldier hit the ground, stunned. The crowd gasped. More came. One after another. Arisha watched from the balcony above. 5, 10, 12. None could drop him. Grant moved like a man who'd fought for survival, not medals. He didn't dance or posture. He struck with purpose. Clean, fast, brutal. By the end, he stood alone, breathing heavy, bruised, bleeding from a cut on his cheek, but standing tall. The courtyard fell silent. Then applause. Slow, uncertain, then building. Even the most skeptical nobles found themselves clapping. Not for a human, for a warrior. Later that night, Grant sat beside Arisha under the stars on the palace tower. Think that changed anything? He asked. A little, she said, smiling. You earned their respect. He looked at her. And your mother? She's watching, Arisha said. Always. He leaned back, looking at the stars. You really think peace is possible? I have to, she said. Otherwise, I died for nothing. Grant chuckled. You're not dead. No, she said. But the girl I was before the war? She's gone. Grant looked at her for a long moment. Then I'm glad I met the one who came after. She smiled, leaning into him. Me too. But far above, on the edge of the system, an old warship stirred. It bore no flag. No name. Just scars. Inside, a figure watched the palace feed. A human in the royal palace, the figure growled. Unacceptable. Orders were given. Ships powered up. Old enemies were waking. And this time, peace would not come easy. Here is part 3 of Asterisk. The alien queen thought her daughter died in the war. But now she returned with a human, Asterisk. The sun had barely risen when alarms shattered the peace. The sky above the capital dimmed as 3 massive warships emerged from stealth orbit. Old Yulari battlecruisers, decommissioned long ago, now repainted in black and gold. Their hulls bore no insignia, but their purpose was clear: intimidation. Grant was already in armor by the time the queen's summons came. Arisha met him outside the throne room, her face pale but steady. I thought the war was over, Grant said. It was, Arisha replied. But not for them. Inside, The queen stood flanked by guards. Counselor Vezin had returned, this time grim-faced. They call themselves the Ashen Guard, the queen said. Fanatics who refused the ceasefire. We exiled them after the treaty. Now they've come back. With timing that's more than suspicious, Vezin added, eyeing Grant. Grant ignored the implication. What do they want? The queen sighed. They've demanded my abdication. They believe I've weakened the empire. That allowing a human into our court proves it. And if you refuse, they'll attack. Grant's jaw tightened. Then let them, Vezin snapped. You would doom our people to another war? I would protect them from one, Grant said. But that doesn't mean we sit and wait to be punched. The queen raised a hand, silencing them both. Enough. We'll negotiate first. If that fails, we fight. Arisha, I need you by my side. And Grant. She looked at him closely. Speak to them. They've seen war. You have too. Maybe they'll listen to someone who fought on the other side. That afternoon, a shuttle was sent to the Ashen Guard's lead ship, the Iron Grief. Grant volunteered to board it. As the shuttle docked, he could feel the tension radiating off the guards. The ship's corridors were gray and cold, stripped of any royal symbol. Functional, brutal, efficient. He was led to a chamber where High Commander Jurex waited, a towering Yulari with a scar across his mandibles and 4 red eyes that burned with conviction. So, Jurex said, rising. The human walks in our house, wearing Yulari armor. Grant stood firm. I'm here to talk. You're here to beg, Jurex replied. I've never begged in my life. Then you'll die proud. Grant shook his head. You think bringing back war will make your empire stronger? It won't. It'll finish what the last war started. Jurex stepped closer. You know nothing of strength. I know enough, Grant said. I watched worlds burn. I saw mothers cry over sons who died for someone else's pride. I buried friends, human and Yulari. That's what your war brings. Jurex studied him. You care too much. That's your weakness. No, Grant replied. It's what makes us stronger than you'll ever be. Silence stretched. Then Jurex laughed. Leave my ship. Next time, it won't be a conversation. As Grant turned to go, he noticed something. A sigil hidden beneath Jurex's cloak. Not Yulari. Not Ashengard. Something older. He filed it away. Back in the palace, he reported everything. The queen nodded gravely. Then we prepare for war. But there's more, Grant said. They're not alone. Someone's backing them. That symbol. I've seen it in human archives. A war cult. Ancient. Ruthless. They believe peace is corruption. Arisha frowned. You think they're using the Ashengard as pawns? Yes. And they won't stop at us. The queen looked out over her city, her people. Then we fight not just for Yulari. We fight for everyone. That night, defenses were raised. Shields activated. Fighters scrambled. Grant stood on the palace balcony with Arisha. We might not make it, she said softly. We will, Grant said. She looked at him. Promise me something? Anything. If I fall, finish what we started. He didn't speak, just nodded. Above them, the warships turned. The battle had began. The first strikes came like thunderclaps from the heavens. Yulari defense cannons roared to life, their blue bolts streaking toward the descending Ashengard warships. Explosions bloomed in the sky. The once beautiful skyline was now a battlefield. Civilians had been evacuated, but the city still trembled with every impact. Inside the palace, Grant led a team of mixed human and Yulari soldiers through the outer perimeter. He moved with precision, issuing orders calmly. Every motion practiced. Every corner cleared. Every angle watched. Arisha, in her ceremonial armor, stood beside her mother. Though she had returned as a daughter, she now fought as a warrior. The queen's voice echoed through the command chamber. Grant, the Ashengard are attempting to land troops in Sector 12. Can you intercept? Already on my way, he replied, charging out with his unit. On the battlefield, the streets had turned to ruin. Debris littered the roads. Fires painted the sky orange. But the defenders held strong, rallying around Grant as he fought with brutal efficiency. A Yulari soldier behind him called out. They're retreating. No, Grant barked, grabbing the young warrior's arm. That's not retreat. It's a trap. They're hurting us. Seconds later, an explosion rocked the nearby structure, raining stone and steel. Grant shielded 2 soldiers with his own body, gritting his teeth as the dust settled. He stood up, coughing, bruised but alive. They want the palace, he said. It's all distraction. Arash is their real target. Meanwhile, within the palace's inner sanctum, Arashah stood watch with 2 elite guards. The queen had refused to leave. She remained on her throne, unshaken, even as alarms wailed and the ground shook beneath her. But then, silence. No rumble. No fire. No more explosions. Only stillness. The guards exchanged glances. 2 quiet, 1 muttered. The chamber doors blew inward with a deafening blast. A squad of Ashen Guard elite, cloaked in black armor, stormed in. Their leader, a towering warrior with gold markings and a voice that rasped like dry ice, stepped forward. By order of the old creed, he said, the queen is removed. Long live the empire. Arashah stepped between him and her mother. You'll pass through me first. As you wish. Blades clashed. Blaster fire lit the room. Arashah ducked, spun, kicked hard into an attacker's chest, then rolled across the marble floor. 1 guard fell, then the other. The queen shouted her daughter's name, but Arashah didn't flinch. Then came the commander. He charged, faster than she expected. She raised her blade but was thrown hard against the wall. Her shoulder cracked on impact. Pain blinded her. Before the commander could deliver the final blow, Grant smashed through the doorway. He didn't pause. He didn't hesitate. He tackled the commander mid-strike, slamming him into the stone floor with a sickening crunch. Blades met steel fists. Grant struck with rage and precision, his training and fury blending into unstoppable momentum. You shouldn't have come here, he growled. The commander staggered back, but not fast enough. Grant grabbed him, lifted, and drove his knee into the alien's torso. Once, twice, until armor dented and the invader gasped his last breath. When it was over, Grant dropped the body and turned to Arashah. She was hurt, but alive. I told you, he said, offering her a hand. We'll make it. She smiled weakly. Good timing. But the queen wasn't smiling. She was staring past them, toward a new image flashing on the war table. Another fleet. Much larger. Unknown symbols. What is that? Grant asked. Vezin stepped into the room, pale. That isn't the Ashen Guard. Then who? The queen turned slowly. The ones behind this. The ones you warned us about. The sky split open once more, black vessels descending like shadows with wings. The cult Grant had feared had arrived. This wasn't just a rebellion anymore. This was an invasion. And the real war had only just begun. The new ships loomed in the sky like ancient gods, darker than space itself, without engines or lights. Only a silence that suffocated. The queen's war table tried to identify them, but every scan returned nothing. No heat. No life signs. No known origin. Grant stared at the screen. I've seen that tech before. During my Black Ops days. Only once. A ghost fleet near the ruined systems. Everyone thought it was a myth. Arashah looked between him and the queen. Then it's real. And they're here. The queen issued the evacuation order. Get the civilians to the underground shelters. Alert the outer colonies. We don't know how far this reaches. Grant took command of the palace defense. We hold the capital. If we fall here, the whole planet goes down. We stall them as long as we can. The ghost ships descended, quiet, deliberate, almost graceful. Then the first beam struck. A single black lance from the largest ship sliced through an entire defense sector like paper. One hit. 10,000 gone. No explosion. Just silence, and then absence. Arashah swallowed her fear. We can't win a straight fight. We're not going to, Grant said, gripping the railing as he spoke into the command mic. We hit and vanish. Think like humans. Guerrilla tactics. Chaos. We break them down from inside. Inside the palace hangar, Grant and Arashah boarded an old stealth dropship, untrackable by most systems. Their mission, get aboard the lead ghost vessel and find its core. Vezin volunteered to guide them with intercepted data. They launched into the storm. Outside, the world was ending. Yalari warbirds were vaporized mid-flight. Massive bunkers were swallowed whole. The enemy ships didn't need armies. They were weapons themselves. But stealth got them through. Grant's ship slipped beneath the largest vessel, into a hangar shaped like an open maw. No alarms. No resistance. As they entered the ship's interior, it became clear. This wasn't built. It was grown. The walls pulsed slightly, organic and mechanical fused. Strange symbols shimmered along the surface, whispering in a language no one recognized. They moved fast. Every second was borrowed. Then they reached it, a central chamber, glowing dimly with a pulsating black orb suspended midair. Tendrils reached out like veins, feeding the rest of the ship. Vezin gasped. This isn't a reactor. It's alive. This whole ship, it's one creature. Grant loaded the last of his plasma charges. Then let's kill it. They planted the charges fast, but the ship responded, tendrils pulling back, walls twisting, shadows coalescing into something vaguely humanoid. It wasn't alive in the normal sense, but it knew. It fought. Grant covered Erisha and Vezin, taking hits, burning through ammo, his armor scorched and cracked. He tackled a shadow beast, stabbing it with a plasma dagger until it evaporated into ash. Vezin screamed. Detonation in 20 seconds. They ran. Doors closed behind them. The ship howled literally, a sound that wasn't just heard but felt, like it vibrated the bones in your body. 10 seconds. They dove into the stealth ship, lifted off, and shot out through a closing hatch just as the black orb exploded, turning the lead ship into a firestorm of cracking metal and shrieking energy. The chain reaction spread. One ghost ship detonated, then another, and another. On the surface, the queen and her people watched as the impossible happened, death raining from the sky, but not upon them. Upon their invaders. When it was over, only ash and fragments remained. Back at the palace, Erisha stood by the balcony as Grant limped beside her, his armor barely holding together. She turned to him. Why did you come for me? Why risk everything for another world? Grant shrugged. Because you matter. And if you matter, your people do too. War taught me one thing. Life's only worth something when you fight for someone else. The queen approached quietly and placed her hand on Arash's shoulder. And because of that, human, you are no longer just a guest here. Grant raised an eyebrow. Then what am I? The queen looked toward the stars. A symbol of what our future must be. Erisha smiled softly. Together, and for the first time in centuries, peace didn't feel like a dream. It felt like the next chapter.